Welcome back to Scream Suite. This is Carefree Black Nurse Scream Suite. We're going over the one of the most infamous or most famous star-studded, but also not so star-studded series they are out there. The horror slasher, kind of sort of bordering on satire as series that is Scream. This is the fourth installment of the Scream Suite. This is Scream 4. I am your host, Rhayne Coleman, and I have with me in the co-host chair a voice that you should be familiar with, and if not, wake up and recognize, motherfucker. Go back and check the back catalog. What's up, John? What's up?
What's up, bro? Thank you for having me back. You know how I feel about
Hey,
collaborating with you. I am excited to be
hey,
here. I'm a
hey.
little under the weather, so please forgive me if I sound more nasally than I normally do, but
Ain't no thing.
it's a little they're trying to kill me. The
Hey.
government is trying to kill me. I got this I got this little head cold, and I feel like, oh my god, they're trying to
Man,
kill me,
look,
bitch.
that ain't no thing. That ain't no thing. And I understand, man, when you lose that ability to smell or that
Oh my,
congestion gets built up, I already know. Ooh.
I be like, ah, my head is like killing me.
Mm.
Oh
Well,
no.
prayers, thoughts, good vibes,
Thank you.
all that shit
I
out to
receive
you.
all of it. I receive all of it because
And
nigga,
listeners,
woo,
hashtag good vibes. If you made it this far, good, good
yeah,
vibes, so John can get over this bio weapon that the government has formed against him.
exactly.
Speaking of bioweapons, Scream 4, 2011. What the heck was this? Um, Thi-
Okay.
So what are your okay? Fuck it. All right, y'all. This is the official start to none other than the Scream Suite. Man, all right. So let's get right to it. What is your either initial thoughts or your memories as it pertains to Scream 4?
Okay, so I saw this opening weekend. I actually went. It's oh my god, it's so crazy. I
Yeah.
went to the theater to see this. I actually went on a date with my then boyfriend at the time,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because we were just chatting, and the person in front of me was my high school crush, and we had knew each other in high school. Like, oh my god, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a good 3 or 4 years. And he's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And then I'm looking at my nigga and I'm just like, awkward. Cause
Hey.
like, he was still looking good as fuck. I'm like, God
Hey.
damn. Cause this literally was I had been out of high school for like 10 years. So I
Okay.
was just like, yo, but no, I remember seeing it and this takes it back. The theater was packed. Like
Oof.
theater was packed,
Yes.
packed. So I remember when the box office totals had come out later that weekend or early next week. I was surprised
Mm.
that it was so low because I figured that if my theater was full
Mm-hmm.
across the country, it was full, but no. As far as the movie, I want to state light because I know we're going to talk more about it later.
Yeah.
The opening to me, it's hard to follow Scream 1's opening and
Mm-hmm.
Scream 2's opening.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even give slight grace to part 3. I was not a fan
Mm-hmm.
of part 3's opening, but I get it. But this opening to me,
Yeah.
it was too meta. It was I it to me it cheapened the 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 franchise at that point. It just
Mm.
felt I don't know, it felt too self-referential. It seemed kind of cheesy and it was kind of teetering into the scary movie vibe
Yeah.
opposed to it being, you know, Scream. I just was like the especially the Kristen Bell, Anna Paquin thing. Like
Bruh.
I was like, you got these two. If you would have just had them
Mm-hmm.
in that, and they would have been the opening kills, like a traditional opening kill,
Yeah.
that would have been cool. But I was like, nah.
Yeah.
By the
No, I'm
time
with
we
you.
got to the original, the open kill, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay,
Yeah, I agree. I think I will say I applaud Scream 4 and even Scream 3 to an extent for doing something or taking a risk or doing
right,
something that I guess they felt would have been good, wasn't great. I like the campiness of it all, but with much like you, I think 4 was so it was so meta, and it was so meta in such an obnoxious way. Like
yeah,
actually Superman is from this little town outside of Kansas. Instead of just being like embracing what the movies before it did, I
right.
do think, though I applaud the risk, I don't think it was done well.
The execution
I
was
don't.
horrible.
Yes, terrible. Oh, so listeners, let us know. Use that hashtag Scream Suite and let us know what do you think about this opening, that double fake out. So in Scream 4, it has been many years, well, 10 years, since the Ghostface Killer cut a deadly path through the town of Woodsboro. In order to get over the trauma of those horrific events, Sidney Prescott has written a self-help book. She returns to Woodsboro for her book tour and reconnects with old friends Gale Weathers and Sheriff Dewey. However, Sydney's arrival also sparks the return of Ghostface, putting Sydney and everyone she loves in danger. Interesting. So what I do like, I like Sidney Prescott's character no matter what. She could, I don't know, end up being the killer and I would love her. But I
Right,
do like this. Okay, this is gonna sound probably a little corny, but having this arc of not just being a final girl. Like you started off as this high school girl with this trauma from your mama, then you deal with this bull from your boyfriend at the time, then you move on and you go to college. So you're getting out of high school, you're in college, and then it's like every step of her life we're following her. If this was
yeah,
this could easily be Take Away the Murder, this fun Gilmore's Girls, Dawson's Creek style. Look at this white girl live her life. And like we follow her from childhood to college to working a regular ass job like everybody
right,
else, as that crisis helpline operator, and then this book lady, novelist, whatever. But I like I think her arc or tracking her progression has been very exciting to see, because I don't know that in other horror films you get that.
right,
I'm thinking Jamie Lee Curtis and the Halloween films, not to pit two bad bitches against each other, but
right.
thinking, I don't know. But y'all listeners, let me know. Those of you who are really into horror, am I thinking too much about it, or is it clearly like, yeah, they evolved this girl? So we have the two fake out openings. I'm with you, and I do feel like it does kind of cheapen what we had so far. Though I do
Yeah.
applaud the uh, I don't know, the attempt. Getting We can get right to it. Getting the killer right away. How did you feel about the cousin? Because we're essentially following her as the main character, as the new Sidney Prescott, like handing over the torch and having her end up being the killer. One, did you guess it when you watched
No,
it the first time? You didn't?
I did not guess it. The reason I didn't guess it is because we just did a family member as the
Mm,
killer
mm-hmm.
in part 3. So it's like,
Okay.
are y'all gonna really do another family member? The same reason I think they didn't do Derek as the boyfriend or the killer in
Mm-hmm.
part
Yeah.
2, because we just did it in part 1.
Yeah.
It would, at this point, if in my mind at that time, it would have been reductive to make
Mm-hmm.
her the killer. So I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Um, I'll be honest, I did think that Kirby was the killer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I could see that because there were points. Okay, I'll say this. I watched this movie before, but this is the one Scream that I have absolutely no memory of. The only slight memory I had was when the three girls were driving to school and got that phone call from Ghostface
Yep.
on the way. That is the only thing. I kid you not. So I was watching it. Well, that and the double opening, double fake out opening. So I truly did not know who was who. I forgot that Sidney and this girl was even cousins. I didn't know any
Right.
of this. And so for me, Kirby did seem like she was set up as, I don't want to say aggressive, but she felt kind of intense, where
Very much so.
instead of setting up, oh, it could be the boyfriend, like how that could be an obvious choice, she felt like, to me, like they were doing a good job at sort of seeding in this possibly psychotic character. So yeah, I'm with you. I thought Kirby was going to be the killer as well. But she wasn't. That big old jawbreaker head. So we get these young girls, and okay, so having the cousin be the killer. So I'm assuming your thoughts are we didn't need it.
I I don't think we needed it. I think it was, I don't know. I just didn't think we needed it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if only because of Scream 3. I'm just like,
Yeah.
if I didn't think it was needed. Like, and then my whole thing was, I mean, of course we have our older cousins, we have younger cousins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, is her mom Sydney's younger sister or older
No,
sister?
for real.
Does she have the child late in life if she's the older sister? Because this girl is probably in like 10th or 11th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and Sydney is probably a smooth 30 at this point. I'm just like,
Right. I ain't like it. I'm gonna tell you that.
I thought it was almost lazy.
Very. I didn't like it because I felt like, and I know this is a different time in 2011, and I try my best to remember things without the MCU, DCEU lens, even the
Right,
Fox X-Men lens. But I feel like at some point when you know that you're getting a franchise, because that's what this is, at this point, there's no denying. Because even
right.
in the third, what was it, the third film where they were talking about the trilogy and setting up a new trilogy, like ending the trilogy,
Yeah,
it was in the writing. We were already meta enough.
right.
And to retcon in this sister and who has this daughter who is the cut, like,
Why she didn't show up in the previous movies?
and I would even be okay with that if you were to explain it well enough. Like, I feel like it was not handled well. I know we have different upbringings, stuff happens, and when they're killers, they're just killers. It is what it is.
Right.
But I I don't think they sold me on either one of the killers. Macaulay Culkin's little brother, we didn't get enough time with him. I felt like, because they weren't a core group of friends, and we got them kind of on the fringe of like talking to Gale and then live streaming school. I I didn't guess him, but I don't think that is praise for the movie.
I forgot about him sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you touched on that. I feel like they tried to recapture
Mm-hmm.
the essence of the friend group from Scream 1
Yeah.
with those type of archetypes that we have, and I just feel like it, I don't know, it felt lazy. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like to me it felt like a half-assed attempt.
Yeah. I
It
can
was
see
just like,
that.
okay, like, but I mean, again, that friend group was the 90s, and this friend group
Mm-hmm.
is the early 2010. So
Yeah,
I
but
don't, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still not with it because I feel like you have to. And okay, because I've read comics my entire life,
Uh-huh.
there comes a point where you can see very clear shifts in stories, in
Yeah.
artwork, and hell, even if you look at the X-Men cartoon, the stories are there. They're adapted from stories that were of the past, and even the imagery is there. But the seriousness and the taking children who are watching the show seriously and not giving them like these bullshit ass fluff stories, that's there. But you can see that that is definitely a moment in time.
Right.
You may see characters in those old school uniforms, but for the most part, you can track 90s by every man is 6'5" and got muscles on their
Uh-huh.
thigh, on their knees. Every woman is 5'11" and they slim as hell and got pockets everywhere. Like, there's certain stages in comics that you can see, and I feel like because this was at this point a franchise, and because you you're competing with other would-be franchise and other slasher horror films and whatnot with teens to try to recapture that thing of the past versus looking at what sold for 2011.
Right.
What even if you're looking at just comedy, if you're looking at the YA young romances, if you're looking at horror films of that time, I feel like that idea of recapturing something from the 90s was to its detriment because I didn't give a fuck about none of these kids.
Same. I was just like, okay, like, and then my whole thing was, this again is 2010 when they probably filmed it. Script might have been written in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Still, the lack of you have the little gay boy. It was no outside of Anthony Anderson. Where was the diversity? You still ain't got no black. You still ain't got no black friends.
Woodsboro is a sundown town. That's what that is.
Pretty much, it has to be. And my thing is, if you knew this, okay, so if Maureen's death was in Woodsboro, and then Sidney's death was in Woodsboro, and then the events of Scream 3, I'm sure, got back to Woodsboro, even though they're in Hollywood. Why are you still like? Why is everybody not moved? Because obviously Woodsboro, until we get to Scream 5, is a small town. Why are y'all not just leaving?
Man, bullshit.
Do y'all even have a Walmart? Like, what's up?
A Piggly Wiggly and a knife shop.
Y'all have 3 things.
That's it. I really hate Woodsboro. And the thing that's so funny about this to me is the same thing that's funny about comics to me is that we can make these critiques and they're rightfully so, but then it's also like this was created probably before they realized, okay, this is going to be a hit. So now you have to do the retcons and the mental gymnastics to make it fit. That's not going to stop me from judging them because the way I feel about Woodsboro is the way I feel about Gotham and the way I feel about New York in the Marvel universe. Why would you live there? Move to Iowa. Move to a flyover state where you don't get cars through your front window.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Woodsboro is a sundown town. All right. So Dewey is a fuckboy. No. So Gale and Dewey are together. So in this iteration or this installment, they are married, and we get that when we see him waking up in the bed, and the camera kind of follows him, and then she rolls over, which is not so surprising. He did propose at the end of 3, so cool. Kudos to them. Okay, we mentioned their relationship, and I think when we did the second installment, how do you feel about Dewey and Gale? Has your feelings changed at all?
No. And the fact that Gale has moved to fucking Woodsboro is beyond me. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not moving to Woodsboro. Knowing that it's one thing if you already live in Woodsboro and you're stuck in a 30-year mortgage because it's not going to be easy to sell your house and you just stay there, opposed to, let me actively move to Woodsboro. I think the fuck not.
See, I think their relationship was doomed to begin with. How in the hell... What this like Beyonce come move down to West Bumfuck, Iowa because you fell in love with a man who I don't know is a local plumber. Nothing against plumbers. That's a trade job. You're making money.
Right,
that's
we
not
need
even
more plumbers
what I'm saying.
And less YouTubers.
I'm saying. But like it doesn't it's such a weird it's unlike with Sidney, I think with Gale, did they even consider like, what are they doing to this character? Her and Dewey make no sense. No. And for her to have this drive to, like, want to write this book, want to be something, to have sacrificed her big time, big city dreams to be with Dewey in Woodsboro. I know he's a police officer. I understand intellectually what's going on, but I was pissed off at him this whole movie. Like, motherfucker, how is you not cluing her in? How are you? Like, bruh. Fuck him. I was like, bro, you are dumb.
Incapable.
Like, dumb. Then you got this blonde chick who is like on your ass, clearly trying to, get something started with you.
At you, dog.
Bro, I was like, bro, Gale should have put her foot up both times.
You better take it, Dewey.
So them motherfuckers got together. And how did you feel about Gale in this film, though? Like comparing her to the past installments. How did you feel about her in this one?
Eh,
Yeah,
I, I,
lackluster.
I was just like, I'm glad we don't have those bangs anymore.
That
I
yes,
was so I'm like, what? Who the fuck cut those bangs? Like,
everybody,
oh god, oh my god.
everybody cut those bangs.
I was glad Gail didn't have the bangs. I don't know. I was kind of bored with Gail.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of bored with Gail. I was kind of bored of Dewey.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was kind of bored of Sidney.
Mm. I could see that. I wonder. Do you
I
feel like?
get bringing the new and the changing of the guard in a
Mm-hmm.
way. It was like, mm, it just, I don't know. It just didn't. It
Didn't
didn't.
do it for you.
It didn't do it for me.
Did you feel like Neve Campbell was phoning it in this movie?
So okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because here's the thing with Neve Campbell. Everyone wants to be like, oh my god, Neve is the face of the franchise and give her all the money she wants. But let's also put things into perspective because Neve had a diminished role in part three.
Come
She
on.
had a diminished role in part four because Neve's career was ramping up at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't available to film as much, so they had to rewrite the script around her.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's three and four. Five is supposed to be, I guess, a reboot, requel, or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
she's not the main focus. Like she really hasn't been the epicenter of things since two.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's just a cog in a bunch of cogs
Mm-hmm.
that kind of ties old to new. But it's just like I it I'll say yeah, she kind of was phoning it in. It was just like
Yeah.
it was like, let me get this check. So I can see why they may not be giving her X amount of dollars because, like, girl, what else can we really do to have you at the center of this that is going to warrant us giving you the big payout? That's just my.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, no, and I can see that because I do think sometimes we look back on things with like rose-colored glasses. Because literally before you started talking, I was like, yeah, but the more you explain, I'm like, no, that makes sense. She's the face as far as I started this thing, but when you do look at the roles, the way that her role has been kind of situated, especially in five, she was essentially the Captain America coming in the third act to like swoop in and clean shit up. She like
yeah,
it wasn't about her. Um yeah,
right,
okay. So I'm definitely more on board with her taking the back seat. I like seeing her face in this property because really I haven't consumed Neve Campbell media in anything else except for like that one or two episodes of Party of Five I saw back in
right,
the 90s. I could not give you anything else that woman has been in. And there's no shade to her. It's just that's what it is. I wasn't her target audience. So, you know,
right.
um, but yeah, thinking it's that let me be real queer for a second. It's that Disney shout effect where say what you want about not liking Disney shout or about not liking Michelle Williams, but she's been a Disney shout member for much longer than the
Thank
original
you.
members. And so when you think of Disney shout, you may be of a certain age and think of the four originals, but Michelle has earned her due. So I feel like that is kind of the a good example of the Scream
Yes,
franchise now. Homage paid to Nev all day long, but I do think moving away from Nev Campbell's character will allow you to open up the world a bit more
right,
and focus on some of these other characters who maybe in the past, which speaking of representation, some of these black and POC characters who didn't get the same spotlight. And it's
right,
no ill will or bad talk, but if we're gonna do the retcons and pull family members and generational traumas and hunters and Ghostface, move her out the way. There's only
Right.
so many times I'm going to watch somebody on screen talk about slut shaming her mama. That can't be the plot
Right. That
in
we
every
got it. We got to try something else.
yeah,
So I get
yeah.
it.
Oh, I just don't want a musical. That is the one, and I love musicals.
I don't
Just
want to
don't give me.
see. No, that's not gonna work. Sorry.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about the two um YouTube streamers before streamers were what they were. Rory, Rory Culkin played Charlie Walker, and what's his homeboy name? Was it Trevor? No, the Trevor was the
Trevor, I think,
boyfriend.
was the boyfriend. Trevor was Jill's boyfriend.
Eric, Eric Knudsen. He played Robbie Mercer. I believe that's it.
Yes.
I had a visceral reaction to them on screen. I did not need any of this. They felt like Jamie Kennedy's character to the extreme between two people.
Thank you.
I didn't like them. I never felt like. I felt like we had everything but a regular guy. And when I say regular guy, if we're going to compare it to the first installment, I'll say the Billy Loomis character. I don't even think her boyfriend was Jill's boyfriend was like
He
just
wasn't.
because like he was
He was a
barely in the
throwaway
movie.
character. To me,
Yes.
he was a throwaway character. The little gay boy was a throwaway. You know what?
Who was gay?
All these little white kids was throwaway characters.
Who was gay in this movie?
The Robbie was gay when he was getting murdered on the porch. He was like, "But I'm gay."
Oh, okay.
I mean, he didn't give it the gravitas that Jamal from Empire did. Like, "But I'm gay," but no, he was like, "I'm gay. I can't die."
Oh, I must have missed that. Whatever. It was uneventful. It wasn't for me.
Because he was a throwaway character.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a detriment to this film is not taking the time, which they mentioned that in the opening. It was like, oh, I didn't like Saw 4 because such and such. And the girl was like, oh, I like the way Jigsaw killed everybody. She was like, but you don't care because they didn't develop the characters. I'm like, that's exactly what this is.
The call is coming from inside the house.
I mean, I'm saying, because
I'm like, these characters, you didn't have those characters that pop. Like, you didn't have a Tatum.
Come on.
You didn't have a Stu. You didn't have a Billy. You didn't have you didn't have a even going into part 2, you didn't have a Mickey or a Hallie that were in the friend group. You had these generic ass white kids that are just there.
Yeah.
Like, you're here and you could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Honestly. I don't know. It just felt like a dip in quality to me.
I can see that. And it's so sad because I think Hayden Panettiere is a great actress.
To me, she's the only. Okay, so let me walk it back a little bit.
Come on.
She's the only one. Her and Jill are the only two that really popped as far as that friend group. Everybody else is just like, okay.
Yeah, forgetful.
Very forgetful. Like, why are you here?
Yeah. I don't think we spent enough time kind of building that world, because even when her aunt was in the kitchen and she was like, they were talking about the scars, like, oh, Sidney, beautiful shit. Oh, I have scars too. I'm Maureen's sister. What? You got 4 lines.
Fuck them kids.
Like what are we doing? Who cares? Unpack these groceries. So
where y'all mom and daddy? Where the grandparents at?
Yeah. And where were you at when Maureen was off in Hollywood adjacent studios,
busting it down to a 2-girl show? Hello,
like, oh my God, spread ego asshole. But no, I don't know, man. I feel like, much like you, there was a dip in quality. I think it's a fun movie if you're just sitting up watching something, having it playing. But I'm also of the mind that if I'm just gonna sit up and watch a Scream movie that's bad to have it play, I'm gonna watch Scream 3. I'm gonna let that play. To me, that was over the top in a way that was more fun than this.
Where it didn't reach the brink of being too meta. It was meta, but it was like there were its moments. They took that, concentrated it, and just made this 4. And I'm just like,
yeah. Yeah.
And I've always said I enjoy 4 more than 3.
Mm-hmm.
I watched 4 within the last 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, I don't know. I'll say they tie for me.
Okay.
They're
That's
two
fair.
sides of the same coin.
That's fair.
Before, I was very much 4 is better than 3.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm just like, they're about the same.
Yeah. I don't know. Something about it is just a big disconnect, especially the scenes starting from where the officers were staked out in front of
Oh my,
Jill's home.
yeah.
Everything past like that whole group of like running back and forth with the killer like that. My gripe and my praise for Ghostface are one and the same. This nigga is an Avenger, and I'm sick and tired of that. Like, I understand getting the drop on someone, but like, this man be walking through walls. This man be getting the strength of 10 rhinoceroses. I'm like, bro, what is going on? And it's even in 5 during that
Yeah,
hospital scene. I was like, bro, who is this nigga? Who
right.
is this? It's like,
Look, Bart, is that you, nigga? Is that you,
man,
Barton?
say
Your
no,
musty ass.
truly.
Is it you?
I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought these kills were I ain't gonna say
Let me tell
boring.
you, the whole because my best friend's a scientist and he's really into stuff. He really
Mm-hmm.
into like logistical things. Anthony Anderson's death
Come on.
was so
Come on.
unrealistic because if you were going there,
Come on.
a knife is not, your skull is too hard for a human,
Come on.
especially a teenage human. I don't care if you go do Taibo and work out 5 times a week. You don't have the strength to have the knife go in that far in his. I was just like, this is. If you would have did his throat or his eye, yes, but you did the
Mm-hmm.
center of his head, and you thought you was doing something. You thought you was eating him up, and it was like, this looks stupid.
Yes.
I was like,
Silly as
that
fuck.
was so dumb to me. I was like, okay, you got him cooning out. I'm like,
Bro.
oh my god,
Bro. Tap
oh,
dancing, grooving gorilla. Like,
oh no, not Grooving
yeah.
Gorilla. Grooving
I
Gorilla before Grooving Gorilla was a thing.
I don't like Woodsboro. And again, I know this is a fictitious place and a fake story, but my biggest gripe is that we've made it at this point in time to 4 movies, and y'all motherfuckers still don't take this seriously. There's no way. I think I said on Twitter, I know that you can't control a serial killer. Like, anybody could be a serial killer. I get
Right,
that.
right, right,
But when this is a pattern that happens often,
right.
almost annually, to the point where y'all have a movie franchise in continuity about this shit, and you have like this celebratory, I don't know, anniversary celebration. How are we not going above and beyond? How's the government not come in and
Thank you.
been like, okay, clear this shit out?
Clear it
Because
out.
y'all can't be left to your own devices.
And maybe that'll open. I'm glad you brought that up because maybe now that it's in New York, it's more central. It's gonna maybe pick up
Yeah.
whatever CNN is equivalent in that universe,
Mm-hmm.
and it can open itself up to copycats across
Mm-hmm.
things where that can take us to different screams where
Come on.
we're not necessarily concentrated on this entire cast if
Mm-hmm.
they all or some make it out alive.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of like make spreading out, especially with having the Scream series. Now, I never watched it. I heard it was good. I heard the Kiki Palmer season. I think the
The
3rd season was really
season
good.
3 was good because it was unapologetically black.
Okay,
It
okay.
was kind of like our precursor to the blackening.
Come
Like,
on.
okay, this is blackety black black black, and the fact that you burned this off on VH1
Yeah.
over 3 nights instead of giving it the 2.5 month treatment that you did the white counterparts. Don't get me
Mm,
started on that, but
yeah.
and then you had held on to it. It had already been recorded. you had held on to it and then you released it.
Yeah, you know how they do. You know how they do this. I'm looking at you, CW,
And I'm
aka Money
like,
Central.
and you got Queen Latifah attached to this as an executive producer,
Mm.
and I'm just like, y'all don't care,
Yeah, fumble, drop the bag, drop the ball, all that.
right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that you're right, and because I could definitely see New York being a thing. Whatever happens there, like you said, whoever gets out, but let some copycat move going to Jersey and then going to Detroit and one onto Atlanta. Like, yeah, I could definitely see that. That's a good way to open up the franchise as well.
Yeah,
I just think in continuity, they need to ban those masks from being made. At this point, buy out whatever company is making them masks.
right.
So, shit,
Put a hefty fine on that shit.
hey, but I like it though. I think I know neither one of us have been really diehard horror fans,
Right.
but looking at the horror greats, I'll say, of our time, the Michael Myers, the Freddy Kruegers, and all that, how do
Yeah.
you feel like the Ghostface, um, at least visually, pairs up to the rest of the different horror franchises? Do you think it's like top tier, top five?
I'll give it top five.
Top five. Okay, I can see that. I think it's one of its uh benefits or what makes it work is how simple it is.
Super simple,
It's extremely, yeah, like extremely
and
simple.
anyone can take the mantle.
Come on, Spider-Man. Yeah. And that's
Yes,
what makes it terrifying. You can wear a dress under that motherfucking thing. You can wear some slacks. You could be a
a
man or a
jock
woman.
strap and some
Hey.
Tims.
Oh.
No, I don't know if you want to be chasing people in Tims.
Hey.
Turn into a fuck in case you want to dip out to the bathhouse real quick,
Listen,
and
if
then
they got
get
a
back
Coco
to
dormant up, they're gonna Coco
right,
dormant
Coco
up.
doing up, and get right back to the itinerary. I'm this
Listen.
bitch at 10 and get my dick wet real fast.
Man, say you killers got to get a net too.
Right, because I be watching. I'm thinking like, so when you're not killing, what do you
Hey,
do your regular day to day life? Like, so what do you like?
hey,
Are you having brunch? Are you,
some of
you're still?
everything.
Yeah, it's like what y'all doing?
Yeah, cause shit, this is working at no blockbuster.
Oh,
Um, Homegirl from Community, the publicist. How you feel about her, Sydney's publicist, and the way she was murdered?
uh, you didn't show any urgency.
Mm-mm.
You were not committed to really try. Like the handle don't work. Okay, bitch, run. You just standing there, and then I was like, this is that was lazy. Like
Yeah,
you didn't run, you didn't. I just was like, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's fair. I feel the same way about her that I feel about Robbie. I feel like she was unnecessary.
Yeah, I was like, why are you here?
Yeah, Sydney could have showed up on her own. I really thought she was unnecessary because it felt like they were towing that line of Billy's mom in Scream 2
Yeah.
and sort of this like, oh, I'm disgusted at this stupid small town,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't spend any more time with her. Like it wasn't like I didn't care about her kill. When I saw her character from Community. I didn't see anything new. So when she
Right.
died, it was like, all right, girl, well, you
I mean, you
know,
really you didn't try to run, and I'm just like, you got stabbed in the stomach. That's not necessarily
hey,
automatic death, but whatever.
everybody in this movie got stabbed in the stomach. Like everybody.
Right.
Like, speaking of knowing that Kirby reappears in Scream 6, did you know prior to seeing that trailer that she was alive?
Um, I caught the Easter egg in part 5
Hmm.
of her speaking out because it was a clip where it was a scene where she was a thumbnail on a YouTube page.
Okay.
She spoke out, so I knew that. But even prior to 4, I mean, technically we didn't see the full extent of it, but I also think after 4 they really weren't going to continue that story. So
Hmm.
I just think it happens to be what it happens to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I would like to get into the mind of the creative teams. I'm sure there's like DVDs of director's cuts and whatnot, but
Yeah,
I we have the benefit of looking at this with today's eyes, but I
me
wonder
too.
while this was being made, if these motherfuckers like, oh yeah, this shit is a hit. This gon' get them, and it's like,
They couldn't have thought that before. If they did, denial is a river and your husband is gay.
oh
Well,
no. But
this
see,
ain't it.
that was me and Cole discussed this in 3. I think the Scream franchise, much like a lot of media, and I'm going to get a little deeper than probably necessary, but when you're looking at these black people in the real world watching this, if you enjoy horror and slasher, yeah, that's cool, you're going to watch it. But I think the allure of Scream 1 and 2 that would have put us in the seats back in the 90s was gone by this time.
Yeah,
For me, there's no one that draws me into 2011 Scream 4. There's
no,
no one like I like Neve Campbell. It would have been purely seeing this purely off the fact that I had seen the other installments in this series. It would not have been, oh, I have to see that.
right.
Monica Geller, okay, save the cheerleader, save the world, all right, but like I could go see any other number of things,
I
and
agree. And I like we had this conversation on too.
mm-hmm,
I feel like waiting 10 years was hurt. I think it hurt it.
yeah,
I feel like, again, I feel like if we did a sliding scale and we had released this anywhere between 2004 and
mm-hmm,
2007,
mm-hmm,
we would have been good. If you were going to, my thing is this, if you were going to wait until 2011, you could have rebooted. Now, I don't know if it would have had the same effect as the reboot of
right,
2022,
mm-hmm,
but I feel like you could have rebooted Scream for
mm-hmm,
2011 because it
agreed.
had been enough time.
I think so. And I think another thing people don't, well, there may be someone in marketing who does this, but I feel like when you're making movies like this, you have to consider the real world teenage element. Children and teenagers are who companies market towards.
Right,
If I'm making a movie and it's a rated R movie that a kid gonna sneak in to see or whatever, you got the cool cousins who get you the tickets to see it. I have to work within a 4-year window because odds are I'm thinking of you as a freshman in high school and then
right.
going off to college. I need to get you in them seats as many times as I can so you can attach memories and feelings and
Of
emotions to
course.
my property. I can't let you come in as a freshman and then wait until you're a junior in college. Like,
Right.
you still might go, but that bond ain't as strong.
It's
So,
not.
that's unfortunate. It really is. Fuck Woodsboro. Fuck them to hell. So, with with all this bullshit we got, and now moving on to this maybe soft reboot, this new passing of the flame, because I think 5 did what 4 was supposed to do.
Yahtzee. Exactly.
hmm
Exactly.
Yeah, they really did it, and they picked a good. Well, did they? Because I still keep thinking Jenna is the Sydney, and she's not. I keep forgetting it's her sister. No shade to that young lady. I'm sorry.
Jennifer, just wait, somebody, Batera.
Yeah, I'm much. Let me look her up. Shoot, scream.
Melissa Batera.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, young lady. No shade to you at all, but I'm just Jenna is where my mind goes to, and the fact that she survived, that kind of shook shit up a bit.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what that is. But I like Sydney. I like what we got. Um, sort of. I don't know. I guess speaking of Jill, I will say she put in work when it came to no, the
No,
specifically
there's no
her
way.
hurting herself. Specifically
No,
that
no, no, no,
you
no.
didn't like that. You didn't like
No,
her
no. I was like,
grabbing.
I'm not doing all of that.
And
No,
see,
I'll be damned.
look,
No,
I was thinking
that
to
that was
myself,
you're too committed, baby.
yeah. I was like, you're going to kill yourself. Like the stabbing and the scratching, yeah, but when she jumped back on that glass table, I was like, man, now come on. You could have
That
snapped.
was like you, ma'am. You are a stunt queen.
Ah,
Get out of here. Like,
I,
go ahead and run them check frauds.
no, yeah, yeah. Be a scammer. There's other ways to be famous. Um, I though I have an issue with Jill, I do like this idea of there being this darkness in that Prescott family line or whatever her mama maiden name was. Um,
Right.
but I don't like it being this random retcon that you have not set up well enough.
Right.
And I think that the darkness that they had for Jill's character, they are putting that into the you said Melissa's her name?
Yeah.
They're putting it in her through Billy. And I think there's something to be said about like generational trauma, and mental health and not like, oh, I'm autistic or schizophrenic, not like the what Hollywood does is attach a mental health disorder to someone to make them more interesting. I mean, the
Yes.
actual idea that there's something going on inside of you that you don't completely understand and having to seek out help for it. uh, That has me a little nervous about six, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't want them to screw this up
Don't screw it up.
because this is going to make or break this second leg of the franchise for me. Ugh, I don't know. So yeah, that's that. Um, Film released on April 15th, 2011. Wes Craven, yet again. Screenplay by Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. Distributed by Dimension Films, and the box office total was 97.2 million. Scream 4, no more. Please, no more.
No more.
Um, yeah, I not a fan, not a fan. Out of all of them, it's not ranking in my top two. It's not.
It's not
Ugh.
making in my top 5.
It's not. Yeah, I'm voting for a stab movie
Nigga, get
before
out
I'm
my
voting.
brain. I was about to say, I'll take stab. I'll
No,
take
truly,
stab.
and I'll take whatever stab they played in this movie. What was it? Stab 7.
Yeah.
Whatever stab it was in this movie, I'll take that over this movie. So, mm. um, so yeah, all in all, pretty interesting installment. I hope that 3 and 4's poor execution only helps to kind of elevate the other installments that did do well. But it's unfortunate. Everything can't be perfect. Yeah, Michael Myers apparently has 4 different timelines in
Yeah.
that front. I was like, bro, get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Avengers Endgame? No. No, not in my horror films. So that's that. Do you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, predictions, any of that?
um, I'm looking forward to 6.
Hmm.
4, with some tweaks, it could have been all right.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, the opening, I would have cut the double fake out.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Um, I would have cut Anthony Anderson's death scene.
Bruh.
Like,
Shucking and jiving.
why even kill? Like, why even kill him? Like, he could have made it out like Joel. But you know, it. I will say, Emma killed that performance.
Quite
That
literally.
is a little white bitch.
Yes.
That plays a white bitch so good.
Yeah. She absolutely.
She's menacing. She's a little bitch.
Yeah. And the way she switched. So I initially had an issue with it, the way her personality kind of just changed, and she was like this very maniacal person. But I was thinking like that feels true, not necessarily to her, but just like for
Right.
someone to be so fake and have to put up this front for so long, and now they can let the facade, excuse me, the facade down. And
Right.
so, kudos to her. One thing I do say I did like, even though it was a little repetitive, was her killing the Culkin boy. Like again,
Yeah.
having this, you so wrapped up in whatever this is that you don't realize she playing you, just like like history repeating itself. So I enjoyed that little bit. Yeah. So there's that. Well, kudos to everyone who's affiliated with 4. Good job on y'all. But we're moving on to 5 and seeing what this new leg of the franchise is going to bring. John, let these folks know where they can find you, support you, listen to you, and all that good stuff.
You can find me on Christian Mingles, Prayer Hand 69. No, you can find me. I'm on Twitter, the John Effect X. You can find me and Rhayne on the John Effect. The third Tuesday of every month, kicking it up, two niggas talking about nigga shit that just happen to be, not straight. So, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the camaraderie, enjoy
Come
the
on.
brotherhood. Like, get with the winning team, ho. Get with the winning team. How about that?
Hey, let them know. And those links will be in the show notes. Of course, me, Carefree Blurred on TikTok and on Twitter, Carefree Black Nerd everywhere else. Make sure to come back and check out the next installments of the Scream Suite. There's also, and I'll link it somewhere in here, the trailer reaction to The Blackening, which is a black ass horror comedy film that I think everyone needs to watch. So it will be linked up in here somewhere. Check it out. I did a quick little reaction to that. But if you guys have any thoughts, comments, concerns about this movie, about the 4th installment, hit us up on that Twitter. Use that hashtag Scream Sweet, or even in the comments. Let me know, those of you on YouTube, what you got going on. And until next time, y'all, stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky. And if you find yourself in a sundown town where you are the only black person, do not become employed. Pack up your bags and move the fuck around.
I'm
Move
done.
around.
I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done.
All right, y'all.